Ah, yes, Goliath, the disaster, the monstrosity, the awful coaster project that should have never came to the light of day. But it did. But now that it got the wrecking ball, we can finally focus on new projects for Six Flags New England's next coaster. Six Flags New England, if you guys didn't know, is my home park, and I want nothing more than a new coaster. And I have a couple of different possibilities that Six Flags New England could take. Now, ever since I'm thinking 2018, Six Flags New England has really needed another coaster, but they still have yet not gotten one. 2019 is when I started to think that maybe Six Flags New England could see their next coaster arrive in 2021 or 2022. But I was leaning towards 2021. Obviously, of course, the next year, the pandemic began. For the entire year of 2020, Six Flags New England remained closed. It wasn't until 2021, in May, that Six Flags New England reopened. And in May is when we discovered that Goliath was closed for the entire 2021 season. This is when us enthusiasts and some of the general public began to speculate that Goliath was nearing the end of its life. In the 2021 season, in the beginning of the season, we could see that the sign to Goliath was also removed, as well as a piece of track removed from Goliath. Then, in the end of the season, once Holiday in the Park ended and the off-season began, a couple of different pictures started to circulate the web. These two that I'm about to show you are the most relevant and the pictures that we had to pay the most attention to. These two pictures are a picture of what looks to be Goliath in a scrapyard and a crane dismantling Goliath's towers. Now we're back up to date. It's 2022 in the 2022 season, and Goliath is gone. However, what processes could we see next to make way for Six Flags New England's next big project? First, before any big coaster project begins, Flashback must be torn down. However, Flashback should be closed for at least 3 months, and then I'm thinking that Flashback could get torn down in the middle of the summer. They could close off this whole area and then just tear it down, and then late in the season, in November, which is the month that they're not open, which then it's open in Holiday in the Park. Then they could begin construction on the new coaster during the off-season, and then they could complete it by the summer and then open it in the summer, guys. And then 2023, definitely the year for Six Flags New England to shine and begin their next coaster. The real question here is, what could that coaster be? And there are a bunch of different possibilities for this, so I'm just going to list them all out. Concept 1, RMC Raptor. Concept 2, B&M Dive Coaster. And Concept 3, a launched roller coaster by S&S or Premier Rides. Let's start talking about the RMC Raptor first. Now, an RMC Raptor, we all know what RMC can do. They can cram in a long, intense coaster into one small, compact layout. Take Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster that you're seeing right now. Just look how insane this is. Something like this could fit just in Goliath's plot of land. And I think this is a pretty good option for Six Flags New England. And on top of all of this, Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster, or an RMC Raptor this size of it, only would cost between $7 million and $10 million, which is definitely a great price range for Six Flags. $7 million is how much Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster costed, and that is definitely a good price that Six Flags New England could work with for their new coaster. And trust me, it would be worth it. But this isn't the best coaster that we have on our list. But again, I truly think that this would be a great addition to Six Flags New England, and I would definitely be satisfied with an addition of this type. Now, our second concept is B&M Dive Coaster. And the reason I'm thinking B&M Dive Coaster is because a couple of years ago, maybe even like a year ago, no one would think that Six Flags would be building dive coasters. But just take a look at what Six Flags Fiesta Texas is doing. They're building the world's steepest dive coaster. And the first dive coaster to have 7 seats in one row. And this is definitely one of the... Dr. Diabolical cliffhanger is definitely a small-scale B&M dive. And I feel like a small-scale B&M dive could definitely work in with the Goliath and Flashback's plot of land. So you would definitely need to take out Flashback and move Balloon Race. You might even have to move Scrambler also to fit this in. But I'm telling you, a B&M dive would be a great addition to Six Flags New England. They could even market it as like New England's only dive coaster or something like that. In fact, it would actually be the only dive coaster on the East Coast, guys. In the entire U.S., it would be the only one on the East Coast, which would actually be pretty cool. And I just feel like, I mean, since Six Flags loves to clone things, just give them a clone of Dr. Diabolical. I don't think an exact clone of Dr. Diabolical would work, though. And I can't find anywhere on how much money Dr. Diabolical is, but I'd assume it's around maybe 15 million, 20 million, somewhere around there. And I feel like if Six Flags Fiesta Texas could do it, I feel like Six Flags New England could also. And this would be a great new coaster for Six Flags New England. It would have high thrill, and it would bring in a lot more guests. So let's start talking about concept number 3. And guys, we can all admit, concept number 3 is what we all want. And that is Launch Coaster. This is what Six Flags New England was missing. A good launched roller coaster. And I think that a Max Force clone would be perfect. I measured it on Google Earth, and I found that the Max Force, that the land that Max Force sits on is around the same size that the land that both Goliath and Flashback together sit on. So if Goliath and Flashback are removed and Balloon Race is relocated, a Max Force clone could fit in here. And we all know, I haven't ridden it yet, but anyone who has ridden Max Force knows that that powerful air-compressed launch, it's one of the most forceful launches on the planet. This launch is insane. I mean, I haven't ridden it, so I mean, it's definitely a bucket list coaster. I really want to get on Max Force, but if they make a clone of it, because I'm probably not going to get out to Six Flags Great America anytime soon, but if they make a clone of it and add it to Six Flags New England, then I will be able to experience that powerful launch, and so will a lot of New Englanders and other enthusiasts who don't live in New England probably traveling to ride the coaster. And this would drive in a ton of guests, and SNS obviously is the manufacturer who would work on this project, and I just feel like this is the best option here. Not the most likely, considering that there are many hints now that the dive coaster project is going to happen. Like, I mean, I'm not going to explain all the hints, or really any of them, because I don't know if they're true, so I'm obviously not going to explain them, because I'm probably going to get a lot of questions in the comments and stuff. So all I know is that there are a bunch of hints and stuff that lead to the dive coaster happening, but I hope this project happens. And if a Max Force clone doesn't end up at Six Flags New England, I want a Premier Rides coaster to end up here. Maybe something along the lines of West Coast Racers, maybe even a clone of West Coast Racers, or a dueling Premier Rides launch coaster, and they could call it East Coast Racers. I don't want them to have a clone of West Coast Racers, but maybe something like West Coast Racers. I want it to be two different things. And then, once you get an altered version of West Coast Racers on the East Coast, simply just name it East Coast Racers. That would be perfect. So I think either of these two projects would work well for Six Flags New England. But I feel like whatever we get, I'll be satisfied with for sure. And yeah, that's basically our video for today. We don't know too much about this yet, but once more details are revealed about Six Flags New England's next coaster, or more hints as to what the next coaster could be, I will release another video. But until then, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and remember, stay on the thrill side of life.